but this is not research over the last 40, 50 years, research over the last 20 to 30 years, but from the neurosciences of learning, psychology of learning. And what they have been showing is that we have focused so much on building the intellectual intelligence that we have completely forgotten about building the emotional intelligence of our children. And that's where our gap is. What we have is a framework called EMC squared, appropriately after Einstein's famous equation. It stands for empathy, mindfulness, compassion, and critical inquiry. We included critical inquiry, so this is the main difference between existing socio-emotional learning frameworks, is that we included critical inquiry because at the end of the day, we thought that it should be a whole brain approach. Just not focusing against purely on one dimension, emotional intelligence, but to balance it with the intellectual intelligence. And so the way that we developed our curriculum is what we call a Libre process, Libre standing for freedom. And the process really takes on a storytelling narrative approach. And when the child learns, he's assessed and he continuously learns from his mistakes. So failure is celebrated in the Libre process, because without failure we don't learn. So those are some of the basic elements of the different products that we have developed here within MGIEP.
So why there is this dissatisfaction in society, and we feel that this because education is focusing only on certain aspects. But the neuroscience and the understanding of the brain has told us that we have not only a new cortex, which is important for processing rational information and doing decision making, but there is also the limbic cortex, which is responsible for processing emotions and making sure that there is reward and emotion built into our decision making. But our school systems have not focused on building these skills or nurturing the emotional brain. So the emphasis now is that this needs to also be specifically nurtured in the classroom, and somehow education systems need to have a broader focus of achieving well-being and happiness in life, because that is what we think is going to be key to building peaceful societies.
Emotional maturity in learners is a key aspect of learning. So they learn better when they are able to focus, when they are more sort of in the moment, and they really do that very well when they are emotionally mature. So teaching emotional intelligence is a huge factor for learning. Socio-emotional learning is linking their own focus and their own sort of sense of self to others, which is another dimension. So the better they know themselves, the better they understand others and others' needs, and recognizing the importance of that for better communication. And better communication is what relationships require, or relationships are better when people communicate better. So I think it is important for every educator to think in terms of teaching students about emotional intelligence.
Human is not an island. We have to communicate, and when we communicate, we have to take care of two parts of the brain, the thinking brain and the emotional brain. And because we have to take care of the emotional brain, social emotional learning is very, very important if we are to produce a global citizen. So Library is introducing us to the concept of emotional intelligence, which is far more important than the intelligence, the thinking, cognitive intelligence. I think Library can benefit us to connect more with the students within the classroom and then move towards changing the world into a better way.
So when we started off initially with the DICE program, the kids were very narrow-minded. We actually was in the country was in a situation where we had a lot of xenophobic violence happening and flaring up at certain places because of people migrating to the country and specifically to our region. We were also in a severe drought at the stage. South Africa for the last few years went through an extreme drought. And so it was very relevant to us and to the learners. So just to have them chatting to other learners about these issues and seeing that there's so many similarities but also differences in these global issues and how they address it was a phenomenal thing. We would be very narrow-minded in a sense on people moving into the country, viewing it as stealing jobs. Or people coming in and using up our water, whereas when I started talking to people from other countries where they found out that there's wars raging in different countries and people migrating, that is the reason why they migrate. They had a bit more compassion and a bit more understanding of why this happened, and it really changed the whole perspective and the whole view of seeing what is happening in the world around us, but not only in the world but in that community where they found themselves.
If we use the digital platform to get the Libre content to school, one, it would help us reach out to more schools. Second, it would make the whole thing very exciting for children and something they will look up to. Having said that, if this is, if we can kind of create and generate interest among kids towards a program and break from the monotony of learning, I think our job's half done, and the rest, half of it will be very well be taken care by the children.
I feel a global citizen is one who is aware of himself, his surroundings, plus much more than that, a person who is very accepting of the diversities around. He or she believes in the interconnectedness. All right, it's not about just being hooked on to social media, but also know what are the kind of diversities that we see around us, who believes inclusiveness of education, and they accept people as they are, to create those kind of feelings for each other, those kind of emotions, and go beyond the boundaries that are created by humans. That is what I feel is the person whom I can say is a global citizen. Not about just having friends across the world. It is much more beyond that. It's more of acceptance and awareness.
It's a real nice experience. I love it because of the we move amongst each other. We are not the group with our own country. We group with different countries, people, teachers and non-teachers. So it's very important and it's a good experience to us also, because we can exchange our thoughts, our platform, our cultural and the school behaviors of the students, their problem, the solution they taken. It's a very good experience for us and future also.
As of now, I'm finding it should be a very positive response from my students, but till the time I implement it in my school and then I come to know what is the exact result of this program, only then I'll be able to tell you what is the exact feedback. But as of now, I'm expecting a lot of positiveness from my students.
We should learn, and then we should also, as educators, should play a very important role to respect each other's culture, to respect each other's view, understand, and then avoiding the dismantling the differences. So in short, we should work together to build the peace in the minds of men and women.